What even is a good shot? Now, that's a question that's plagued mid-hoopers, bad shooters, and people with no handles for generations. And if you're like me, I'm sure you've been pulled out of plenty of games just because you couldn't figure it out. Is it that step back three you wanted so bad? Is it that fadeaway mid-range that Kobe and MJ had so meticulously perfected? Is it that hezzy pull? Most likely, for me and you, no. You need to stick to layups. But for some of the best hoopers in the world, what constitutes a good shot? That's the mission for today's video. To finally master the art of a good shot. What's good, Trey Ball? It's RJ here, bringing y'all a little bit of different type of content today. Make sure you comment, like, share, subscribe, follow us on IG and TikTok, all under the same name, the Trey Ball Podcast. Now let's get right into this video. So one of the things you want to consider when thinking about a good shot is who you're talking to. We all know at least a couple old heads that hate to see all the 3-pointers in the game right now and are wondering what happened to the mid-range. When considering this older demographic, you're never going to get them to say that all these deep threes are good shots. At one point, closer was better, but with the improvements we've seen in the NBA play, that might not always be the case. The league average 3-point percentage has jumped up from 28% in the first year to a whopping 36% in this current season. What that tells me is, not only are people expanding their range, but they're redefining what a good shot is to them. As we move further and further into the analytical era of basketball, the thought process behind a good shot has changed dramatically. While we know that the most efficient shots are always going to be around the basket, there's some hardcore facts that we can't deny about 3-pointers. Simply put, 3 is more than 2, and teams have begun to exploit this to take good shots for them. While the analytical age of basketball has changed the game immensely, layups and dunks are still a very important part of today's game. The average NBA team shoots 34 threes a game out of 89 shots. This makes up for only 38% of all shots. The point I'm making is that not only is the 2-point shot alive, but it's thriving. So, RJ, if old heads like efficient shots, and that's the whole point of analytical basketball, what's the disconnect? The disconnect, my friend, is shot selection. As I've already stated in this video, in the past, closer was better. Through the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, the league was full of talented big men. This diminished the role of guards and forwards to simply facilitators, but as we moved into the late 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s, we saw roles change. As time went on, we saw players that could do more. Guys like Larry Bird, Clyde Drexler, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant ushered in a new era in which we admire tough shots, instead of discouraging them. For these generational players, these were good shots, and they inspired a whole generation of people that wanted nothing more than to be tough shot makers just like their idols. The current state of the NBA has been partly caused by that generation. An entire class of players who worked their entire lives to make these tough shots good choices for them. That, coupled with the effects of Steph Curry and his superhuman abilities, have transformed the idea of a good shot forever. The last reason for the change in shot selection we see in today's NBA is the rise of AAU basketball. Now, if you're a true hoops fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oftentimes, AAU games will be packed to the brim with fans spilling onto the court just to see the best team players in the nation put on a show. And usually, that's what we get, a show. But this style of play may be impacting the shot choices of young stars as they move into college and eventually the NBA. This style of basketball brought up players such as LaMelo Ball, Zion Williamson, and Michael Never Swing the Rock Porter Jr. All these players add a flashy style to the game, in which they attempt tough shots and attack the defense all game. And while this may be true, they all shoot rather efficiently within their roles. They've all shown the ability to be stars within their organizations, 2 of which earning all-star appearances for their play. So, with shot selection taking a backseat as far as importance, how has the league field goal percentage risen 3 percentage points from the 2000-2001 season, in which 14 threes were attempted a game, compared to today, where 34 are attempted per game? Along with the improvement of players and the improvement of analytical ability, I think it's the idea and understanding of getting a good shot versus always needing the best shot. As a young player, my coach was always stressed getting the best shot. That meant getting as close as possible to the hoop. And as basic as that sounds, that was basketball for decades. But now that we have improved basketball, why always hunt for the best shot? A team shooting league average on 53s versus a team shooting league average on 52s will win a game 54-47. And while I know this isn't how basketball is played, this not only shows the talent of the NBA, but that teams don't need to pack the paint to win games. So now that we've established the difference between good shots and the best shots, we need to see who takes and makes the most of each. Low usage bigs are often the leaders in getting the best shots. Players like Clint Capella and Jared Allen combine athleticism and size to get good shots right at the rim. Players like them usually require a playmaking guard to help them reach their peak, since they can't create their own shot, hence low usage. The next group of players who consistently get the best shots are prolific dunkers. Obi Toppin is a prime example of a dunker shooting a high field goal percentage. He's consistently around the rim, waiting for a lob, or getting out in transition for an easy finish. Players like this are a guard's best friend, and usually find themselves playing with the star guard, as in the case of Toppin. The final group that consistently gets around the rim are a select group of guards. Guards like Tyrese Halliburton and Shea are always getting downhill to put pressure on the defense. This downhill movement opens up three-point shots for their teammates, often making them good passers as well. Now, for the people that take the most good shots, it's honestly a different conversation. This conversation revolves around the fact that these players can hit these shots. They're good shots for them specifically. Players like Jason Tatum and Kawhi Leonard provide a mismatch due to their size, strength, and athleticism. All those traits, coupled with elite shot-making ability, make them nearly unstoppable. Big man shooters such as Karl Anthony Towns and Lauri Markkanen also have the ability to hit some tough shots due to their stature and immense shot-making ability. The one player who stands out on this list that isn't physically imposing is the one and only Steph Curry. As mentioned earlier in this video, Steph Curry uses superhuman shooting ability to make the impossible shots look possible. Many other great shooters like Duncan Robinson are able to make tough shots due to their elite shooting ability. All the players I've just named have figured out a way to transcend the best shot agenda and take good shots for them. As we move on within this era of basketball, I believe this will become the status quo for skilled players across the league. As with any list, there's always going to be outliers, and that, my friends, is Jordan Poole. You see, Poole is a curious case because he neither takes good shots nor the best shots. You see, if you've ever seen him play, you know he's not taking the best shots. But what does it mean for him not to be taking good shots? Well, it means that he's not and may never be the caliber of player it takes to take contested shots consistently. Poole shoots 29% on shots deemed heavily contested on 2 attempts per game. Making less than one of these shots per game, it may be time for Poole to expand his game to taking better shots. Poole will need to refine his shot selection and improve his shot-making ability in order to take the next step as a player. So, what did we learn today? I'd say this was a masterclass on what classifies as a good shot. See, to me, the art of a good shot is understanding your strengths and weaknesses along with your role on your team. The idea that there's a blanket term for a good shot is outdated and flat out just wrong. The art is in the player and their situational understanding of ball. So, next time your coach tells you to take good shots, show him this video and take whatever shots you can make.